Hola, ¿cómo están? We've been talking about Spain y los animales. So remember that we said that España is really, really old? Remember last time we talked about a place called La Alcazaba? It was in a city called Malaga, Spain. Do you know that that place is almost 1,000 years old? So crazy. We don't have anything like that here in the United States because our country is so much newer than España is. Spain has been around for centuries and centuries. Do you remember what the colors of Spain's flag are? Rojo y amarillo. Did you know that Spain still has a king and a queen? Isn't that cool? And they live in a castle. They don't have a president like the United States does. They have a king and a queen, kind of like England does. The king and the queen are fairly young. They're in their 40s, and they have two daughters who are the princesses of Spain. And they're both teenagers. So, pretty cool. You can check out a couple of the videos on the video page about Spain to see all the cool things that they have. It's a really, really beautiful country with lots of cool traditions that have been going on for a long time. So, last time we talked about las mascotas. We talked about our pets. And we talked about words like perro y gato, dog and cat. And we learned that a perro has cuatro patas, dos orejas, dos ojos, y una cola. Remember all those words? Four paws, two ears, two eyes, and a tail. Today we're going to talk about los animales de la granja. You can tell from the picture we're going to talk about farm animals. La granja is the farm, la granja. So on this page is a super famous song in Spanish, probably the most famous children's song in Spanish, kind of like we have Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or we have Old MacDonald Had a Farm. This song is a really common children's song in Spanish, and it's called Los Pollitos Dicen. It says, Los pollitos dicen, pío, 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 cuando tienen hambre, cuando tienen frío. Some of you might remember learning that song. Really common song. It means the little chicks say peep, peep, peep when they are hungry and when they are cold. Cuando tienen hambre y cuando tienen frío. Entonces, ¿cómo hace el pollito? What does the little chick do? What does he say? ¿Cómo hace? Hace pío, pío, pío. So there's another example. Remember, we talked about how animals in different countries speak the language of that country, even though it sounds a little crazy that little chicks speak Spanish. They don't say peep, 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 or at least people don't say that they say peep, peep, peep. In Spanish, Spanish speaking people say that they say pío, pío, pío. Kind of close to our sound, but a little bit different. Pío, pío, pío. El pollito hace pío, pío, pío. El pollito is the word for a little chick. Muy bien. So, vamos a visitar la granja de la familia. Let's visit a family farm. ¿Qué animal es? Kate pregunta, Kate is asking, Papá, ¿qué animal es? Y papá dice, es una oveja. La oveja es blanca. Oveja. So, what kind of an animal is an oveja? A sheep. Is it a boy animal or a girl animal? Girl animal, oveja. So when we describe it, we use an adjective. When we use that describing word, we want to also make that one end with an A to match the word oveja. La oveja es blanca. Papá, ¿qué animal es? Es una oveja. La oveja es blanca. Es una vaca. La vaca es blanca y negra. What's a vaca? A cow. Boy word or girl word? Girl word. So when we describe that cow, again, we want to end our adjectives with A's. Blanca y negra. White and black. blanca y negra. Es una gallina. La gallina es marrón. What kind of an animal is una gallina? A hen. Yeah, like a girl chicken. A hen. Una gallina. Now, when we talked about la gallina, we said es marrón. That means she's brown. But see how the word marrón doesn't end with an O or an A? It ends with the letter N. Remember how when we have a word like that that doesn't end with an O or an A, we can just leave it alone. It doesn't matter if the thing that we're talking about is a boy word or a girl word. We can just leave it with an N. If it's boy or girl, doesn't matter. La gallina es marrón. The hen is brown. Muy bien. Entonces, la oveja es blanca. La vaca es blanca y negra. La gallina es marrón. 3 new animal names for us. Muy bien. Escucha y repite, por favor. Oveja, vaca, gallina. Ahora tú. What's this one a picture of? Es una oveja. How about the bottom? Es una vaca. And our last one, es una gallina. Sí. ¿Qué color es la oveja? La oveja es blanca. ¿Qué color es la vaca? La vaca es blanca y negra. ¿Qué color es la gallina? La gallina es marrón. Muy bien. So before we talked about las vocales, the vowel sounds, and we talked about how the vowels are always going to make the same sound no matter what letter they're next to. Doesn't matter if they're at the beginning of a word or the end of a word. All the time they're going to say their name. So do we remember our 5 vowel sounds? Las 5 vocales son A, E, I, O, U. Remember those? A, E, I, O, U. Now we also talked about how the consonants, letters that aren't vowels in Spanish, mostly sound like the consonants in English. And this one is one of those letters that sounds the same whether we're speaking English or Spanish. It's the letter M, M. And in Spanish it says just like it does in English. So if we put that sound in front of the vowel sounds that we know, then we can speak Spanish and sound like a true Spanish speaker. So M plus A says ma. So we see that in a word like mama. Try it. Mama. If we put an M with an E, it says me. Careful. Looks like it says me, but it doesn't. It says me. Me. And we can see that in a word like melon. Try it. Melon. When we put an M with an I, careful, doesn't say my, it says me. Me. Just like in the name Miguel. Try it. Miguel. When we put an M with an O, it says mo. Mo. Like the word mono. Mono. Try it. Mono is a monkey. And if we put an M with a U, it says moo. That's what la vaca says. Moo. Moo. Like in the word muñeca. Try that one. Muñeca is a doll. Muy bien. Let's try those all one last time. Mamá, melón, Miguel, mono, muñeca. Perfecto. So, what's our first syllable that's missing here? Ma. What's our whole word? Mamá. And then what's the next syllable? Me. And what's our whole word? Melón. How about the next one? Número tres. Mi. Miguel. Cuatro. Mo. Mono. Cinco. Mu. Muñeca. Muy bien. Let's try all five one last time. Ma, me, mi, mo, mu. You try it. Muy bien. You're getting to be good Spanish speakers. Bueno, ¿qué tiene? So we talked about what a cat and a dog have. How about la vaca y la gallina? La vaca tiene cuatro patas. Same as el perro, right? El perro tiene cuatro patas. El gato tiene cuatro patas. Y la vaca tiene cuatro patas. La vaca tiene una cola. Same as el perro y el gato, ¿verdad? El perro tiene una cola. La gata tiene una cola. La vaca tiene una cola. But how about la gallina? La gallina tiene dos patas. Diferente. Y la gallina tiene dos alas. What are alas? Wings. Wings. So instead of cuatro patas, una gallina tiene dos patas y dos alas, two wings. ¿La gallina tiene una cola? Does the chicken have a tail? ¿Tiene una cola? Sí, kind of a tail in the back, tail feathers back there, right? Bueno, ¿qué tiene la vaca? La vaca tiene cuatro patas, tiene una cola. ¿Qué tiene la gallina? La gallina tiene dos patas y tiene dos alas. Excelente. So we talked about la oveja, la vaca y la gallina. Now vamos a hablar sobre cómo se mueven los animales. That means, how do animals move? ¿Cómo se mueven los animales? Así se mueven los animales. Algunos caminan, algunos saltan, algunos corren y algunos nadan. This is how animals move. Some walk, some jump, some run, and some swim. Bueno, así se mueven los animales. Algunos animales corren. Some animals run. Algunos animales caminan. Some animals walk. Do you remember when we talked about the endings for verbs, for our action words? Remember how we said that when a verb ends with the letter O, it doesn't have to do with boy words or girl words? When a verb ends with the letter O, it means I am doing the action. Remember when we talked about words like pego, I glue, or escribo, I write, or recorto, I cut. Do you remember those words? Words that end in O, that are verbs, action words, means that the subject, the person doing the action, is I. But look at these verb words. We have corren, caminan. What do both of those words end with? N. When we see verbs, when we see action words that end with the letter N, it means they are doing the action. So we're saying some animals run. They run. Some animals walk. They walk. So when we see an action word that ends with N, it means they are doing an action. Okay? But look at this picture. It says como se mueve. I don't see a letter N at the end. La oveja salta. El caballo corre. La vaca camina. El pato nada. So these are action words that are a little bit different ending. If we see an action word that ends with an A or an E, that tells me it's he, she, or it that is doing the action. He, she, or it. So if I see an O at the end of my action word, I know I'm doing the action. If I see an N at the end of my action word, I know it's they are doing the action. But if I see an A or an E at the end, it means it or he or she is doing the action. So we see la oveja salta. The sheep jumps. The sheep jumps. El caballo corre. The horse runs. La vaca camina. The cow walks. El pato nada. The duck swims. So a few new animals. We have caballo and pato. Now be very careful with that word pato. What does pato with an O on the end mean? A duck. But what does it mean if I change that O to an A? What's a pata? It means a foot of an animal, like a paw. But it can also mean a girl duck. We can also call that a pata. So you could say that el pato tiene dos patas. A duck has 2 feet. But it could also mean a duck has 2 girl ducks. That's kind of an interesting thing, isn't it? So be careful with that word. That's a little tricky. Pato with an O always means duck. But pata usually means the foot of an animal, but sometimes it can mean a girl duck. So be careful. Let's try saying these. Say this after me. Ready? La oveja salta. El caballo corre. La vaca camina. El pato nada. Muy bien. Let's see if you can draw a line to match these actions. Which animal corre? ¿Quién corre? El caballo corre. ¿Quién camina? La vaca camina. ¿Quién salta? La oveja salta. ¿Y quién nada? El pato nada. Muy bien. See if you can say these sentences. La vaca camina. El caballo corre. El pato nada. Y la oveja salta. Muy bien. So we were looking at action words, verbs, that end with A or E. Corre, camina, salta, nada. Because it was just one animal doing the action. But now let's look at what happens when we have 2 animals or more than 2 animals doing the action. Remember, we want to change it to make it now end with an N. The N at the end tells me that it's more than one, it's they. So instead of la oveja salta, las ovejas saltan. The sheep jump. Plural, more than one sheep this time. They jump. Los caballos corren. The horses run. Los caballos corren. Las vacas caminan. The cows walk. Las vacas caminan. Y los patos nadan. The ducks swim. Muy bien. So if I take the letter N off of all of those action words, off of the verbs, then it's just for one animal doing that action. But if I have more than one animal doing the action, I need to make sure I add that letter N to the end of my action word. So try saying them with me. Ready? Las ovejas saltan. Los caballos corren. Las vacas caminan. Los patos nadan. Excelente. Now tell me sí o no. Sí o no, yes or no. Las ovejas nadan. No. Las ovejas no nadan. Las ovejas saltan. Las vacas caminan. Sí, las vacas caminan. Los patos saltan. No, los patos no saltan. Los patos nadan. Los caballos corren. Sí, los caballos corren rápido. They run fast. Muy bien. Okay, see if you can remember the names of all the animals down here. El caballo, la vaca, los patos, las ovejas. Muy bien. El caballo corre. El caballo es rápido, fast. The horse runs. The horse is fast. La vaca camina. La vaca es lenta. What do you think lenta means? Slow. The cow walks. The cow is slow. ¿Qué tal la gata? ¿La gata es rápida o rápido? Rápida. How do I know that it's rápida and not rápido? I have to match it with the word gata. La gata es rápida. We always want to make them match, right? A's with A's. How about el burro? ¿El burro es lenta o lento? El burro es lento. We want to match O's with O's, A's with A's. La gata es rápida. El burro es lento. El caballo es rápido. La vaca es lenta. We always match A words with A words and O words with O words, right? Excelente. So we learned a lot in these pages. We have some new animals to talk about, like el caballo, la vaca, la gallina, el pato, la oveja, el burro, lots of animals. We talked about las patas, feet, y las alas, wings, y la cola, tail. We talked about colors like negro, blanco, amarillo, marrón, brown. We talked about how animals move, caminan, corren, nadan, o saltan. We talked about if they move rápido, fast, or lento, slow. And we talked about making our words agree. If it's an action word and we're talking about more than one animal, we want to make sure our action word ends with N. But if it's just one animal doing the action, we want our words to end with either A or E. And then we talked about if we have adjective words, describing words, we want to make sure that if it's a girl animal and it's an A word, we want that describing word to end with A. And if it's a boy animal and it ends with an O, we want the describing word to end with O too. So we talked about la gata es rápida, but el burro es lento. Excelente. Let's look at some workbook pages. Let's work at la página número 33, page 33, 33. Dice colorea, color, colorea. La oveja es negra. What color am I going to make my sheep? La oveja es negra. Boop. Negra. Muy bien. You can do a better coloring job than I can on my computer, I bet. So color that sheep black. La oveja es negra. ¿Qué tal la gallina? La gallina es amarilla. What color? Yellow. La gallina es amarilla. It's kind of hard to color on a computer. I bet you can do a way better job. La gallina es amarilla. Y la vaca es marrón. What color is the cow? La vaca es marrón. Brown. Is that where we get chocolate milk from? A brown cow? Maybe. La vaca es marrón. Muy bien. Vamos a ver la página 34. Let's have a look at page 34. Dice, encierra en un círculo el dibujo correcto. Circle the correct picture. Número 1 dice, tiene 4 patas. This animal has 4 feet. Es la vaca. Número 2, tiene 2 alas. Which one has 2 wings? Tiene 2 alas. El pato tiene 2 alas, 2 wings. Número 3, tiene una cola. Which one has una cola? A tail. La gata tiene una cola. ¿Cuál animal tiene 2 orejas? Remember what orejas are? 2 ears. Tiene 2 orejas. El burro tiene 2 orejas. No creo que la gallina tiene orejas. I don't think a chicken has ears. How about tiene 2 patas? Tiene 2 patas. El pato. Remember we talked about that sentence could mean that the duck has 2 feet, or it could mean the duck has 2 girl ducks, right? It's a little bit tricky. La oveja tiene 4 patas. The sheep has 4 feet. Muy bien. La página 35 dice une, connect. Corren. ¿Cuáles animales corren? Los caballos corren. Horses run. Which animals nadan? ¿Cuáles animales nadan? Los patos nadan. Ducks swim. ¿Cuáles animales saltan? Las ovejas saltan. Sheep jump. ¿Y cuáles animales caminan? Las vacas caminan. Cows walk. Muy bien. Última página, last page, página 36. Encierro en círculos los dibujos correctos. This time we're circling more than one. Dice rápido. ¿Cuáles animales son rápido? El caballo es rápido. ¿El gato es rápido? Sí, el gato es rápido. ¿El pato es rápido? No tanto, not really. ¿El burro es rápido? No, el burro es lento. ¿El perro es rápido? Sí, look at his orejas flapping in the wind there. Es rápido, sí. ¿Cuáles animales son lentos? ¿La vaca es lenta? Sí, la vaca camina lentamente. ¿El gato es lento? No. ¿La tortuga es lenta? Sí, the turtle. The turtle is slow. ¿El caballo es lento? No, el caballo corre rápido. The horse runs fast. ¿Qué tal el burro? ¿El burro es lento? Sí, el burro camina lentamente. Perfecto. So we learned a lot in this chapter. So make sure you go back and review all the names of the animals and all their different parts of the body and all the different ways that they move. And keep watching more videos about Spain. There's lots to see and lots to learn about. Siguen practicando. Hasta luego. Ciao.